Hey, now, it is a hot summer day, and we have some of these delightful raspberries that we had in the freezer here. These came from my in-laws' garden. Very fantastic of them to hook us up with those. So it seemed like an absolute no-brainer to make some white chocolate raspberry ice cream. So come along for the ride. Now, starting off here, we're going to take 2 cups of a 10% cream, get this into a heavy bottom saucepan. To that, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of whole milk. With that in there, I've turned this saucepan onto a medium heat, and I'm going to sprinkle in 2/3 of a cup of just white granulated sugar, as well as 1/8 of a teaspoon of kosher salt. And I'm just going to let this heat and bring it to the barest of simmers. So while everything's heating up in that saucepan, I've got 5 egg yolks here, and just using the world's cutest little whisk, I'm just going to whisk these up here. So now we've just got a little bit of steam coming up off of the cream here, so now we're ready for our next step. So I took that cream off of the heat here. I'm just going to measure out right around a cup of this. Perfect. I'm going to slowly add it to these eggs here as I continue to whisk. You don't want that cream to be too hot, otherwise we're going to wind up pre-cooking these eggs right now, and that's not going to give us the texture that we're after. So by adding it like this, we're just sort of gradually increasing the temperature of those eggs while combining them really nicely with the cream. So with that fully combined, now we're going to add this into the rest of the cream here, slowly, just continuing to whisk that just a little bit here. Now we're heading back to the stove. So back on the stove top, I'm just going to sort of keep this a little bit in motion here. We're gently heating this over a medium-low heat until we hit 165 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 74 degrees Celsius. So just because of the shallowness of this cream, I've tilted it up here, and it looks like we're almost at 165, so as soon as we're there, I'm pulling this from the heat. So without wasting too much time here, I'm immediately going to strain this just through a fine mesh strainer, and that might catch if there are any sort of lumps of that egg or anything that did manage to cook. We'll catch that here. Taking a look, there's barely any of that egg in there and just a little bit of foam. So now our delightful ice cream base here needs to chill down, so you can get this into the fridge or the freezer, just depending on how much time you have. So now we want to prepare our raspberry puree. So these berries were frozen, but I did let them warm up to room temperature here. Just going to get those into the blender, as well as a 1/4 cup, again, of white granulated sugar. And we'll go with just a heaping half teaspoon here of vanilla extract. And now blend. So I just let that rip here for a couple minutes and it's really nice and smooth. And I'm just going to stir this into my ice cream base. You could also strain these if you wanted through like a metal sieve, but honestly I find part of the charm of this is having the seeds in there. This is a raspberry ice cream. I want to know that it's raspberry. Just going to mix this up and let it continue to chill. Now, in addition to the 350 grams or 12 ounces or so of those frozen raspberries, yes, I did it by weight because, I mean, hey, that was just a little bit easier. I'm going to be adding my white chocolate. So I've got a bar here, and this is 100 grams or just over 3.5 ounces of this chocolate. I'm just doing sort of a rough chop. I want to split it up a little bit. I don't mind if there are some bigger chunks and some smaller chunks. I just want to break it up here, and then I'm going to get it into a bowl. Pop it into the freezer just so this is nice and cold as well and doesn't cause any melting when I'm actually making the ice cream. And there we are. Okay, well, our ice cream base here is completely chilled down, and my ice cream insert here for the maker has been freezing overnight, so we're totally ready to go. Let's make this happen. So I'm just going to pour this in here. This is my Cuisinart ice cream maker. We've had this for quite a few years. We make ice cream all the time with it, and it has lasted really quite well, so very pleased with it. All right, now that that's in there, I'm gonna get the lid on and fire up. So now we're gonna let this go here for a few minutes, just until it starts to show some signs of clumping up just a little bit. Okay, now this could be an optional step, but I think it's completely mandatory. I have an extra heaping cup of these. They're still slightly frozen. I've had them up here for a few minutes, but they're mainly still frozen. I'm just going to be adding them here, and actually that might help this cool down just a little bit. But this is going to be maximizing the raspberry character. Here we are with those raspberries added, and we're going to let it keep going. All right, so we are now at the point where we're going to add our chocolate. Here we are. Just going to kind of sprinkle it in here, let it fold itself in, and then we'll carry on until this ice cream is done. And there we go. Just going to turn this off, get it into a container and into the freezer. All right, I barely held them off. If you do have this ice cream in the deep freeze, and it, like we did, when you go to pull it out, you want to let it warm up a little bit, maybe like 15, 20 minutes, something like that, until it's soft enough to form into a scoop or something like that. Look at this. We've got a couple of ice cream cups going on here. Have at it. What do you say?
Thank you.
That's actually completely
It's
appropriate.
awesome. You can definitely taste the raspberries.
Yeah, for sure, right?
And the white chocolate.
White
I
chocolate,
haven't
for
gone down to
sure.
the white chocolate yet.
So this is awesome because the raspberries are, of course, through that raspberry puree are all throughout the ice cream, but then we also have the little chunks of those berries in here too, and they just kind of pop in your mouth. They have that amazing raspberry flavor. And then, of course, the white chocolate, it's like nice and frozen and hard and crunchy. So you get that texture difference, right? Mm-hmm. Super fun. So there you have it. Really fun ice cream, easy to make, delicious balance, an array of flavors going on there. We're going to take these. We're going to head outside and hit the sun. So until next time, keep Route 11.